What's good? What's good? What's good? What's going on? This is your boy, and I'm here, to discuss and talk about these relationships and shit, and what's going on out here in the relationship atmosphere. You know what I mean? So we're gonna discuss relationships then versus now, and what I mean by that is like the way it used to be opposed to the way it is. Traditionally, the way it was, modern is how it is now, right? So let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about it. I got a lot of views, you know what I mean, but I'm gonna react to this video, and I think I'll probably be able to convey my views throughout this reaction. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Today is the day I need you to subscribe to the video and share the video so somebody else could, you know, get this same type of what you getting. Right? It's only right. Don't be selfish. Alright? So without further ado, let's get into the reaction video. Let's do it. 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 Do it.
So we're talking about men and women gender wars. Who started it, or how did it start, and the solutions for it. So I'm gonna just alley-oop this to Erin and let her segue this off, because that's my good colleague.
I don't honestly, I don't know how it started, but my assumption is that assumption. So don't come in the comments talking no bullshit. My assumption is that it came from the power dynamic between men and women after women started to gain equal rights and opportunities. And I think that there, while women have been getting equal rights, or striving for equal rights and opportunities, the resistance has generally, I would think, has come from men who are the ones who would have.
So for me, I'm gonna stop it right there. For me, I already think that it's not really. I don't think that men. She did say that she's assuming that that's the way it is. But me personally, I really don't feel like that's the case at all. I feel like men, women, and how much money women make is really has not. I don't really think that that's a key factor in the reason why that the relationships and things like that is not working. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel about it. But anyway, moving on.
Change against something that's been a certain way forever. So I'm assuming that
Look like we having some type of.
I'm assuming that's what it is.
Nah, I got some shit for y'all, but go ahead, Smooth.
I was about to say, do y'all know how all this stuff started to begin with? Like how women rights and women voting and all this stuff started. It really was just because the government couldn't tax half the population. You got 50% of the population is women, and they all sitting at home taking care of the kids. if they go to work, now we can get money from the father and the mother.
But the women weren't initially in the workforce. So the tax
They were.
No, they weren't. Black women were in the workforce, but non-black women were not. And what it was that when the men were off to war, you still needed somebody to support the family. So that's what drove women into work. And then when the men came home, they was like, "Shit, I got a little money, I got a little freedom. I wanna keep doing it," you know. And so what you're saying, and this ties into what you're saying, the government pushed that.
So they saw
Yeah.
benefits.
Exactly.
So okay, I did some.
With them. It was about separating the household. If you get the man to work, woman to work, then the kids go to the schools, and the schools get educated by people that they put in place with the system that they put in place. It was a whole lot to it. But,
Well, initially, the women's movement was really about the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote. Let's not confuse that. Like, that was really how it started. And then you shifted to the need for equality, for education and schooling and everything else. But initially, it was about women wanting to vote because women wanted the right to own their own property, having a sense of their own self. Because prior, women and the children you had.
So I'm gonna disagree with that, and I'm gonna reinforce the fact that yes, the government and the welfare system back in the 70s, they came up with a thing where if women wanted to get assistance and wanted their rent and shit to be paid, then they had to be single mothers, pretty much. The male couldn't be in the house, because if the male was in the house, they figured that you didn't need the help, right? And so, but at the same time, they understood and knew that the men, a vast majority of them, didn't have jobs and things like that. So if they didn't have jobs and wasn't working, they wasn't going to be able to pay the bills. So the end result is a lot of black women chose the welfare over the men, because that's just the way it was. I'm not blaming them for it, because I guess to them it was a survival tactic, right? But at the same time, it was the beginning of the ending of our community and our family, right?
You had in that family were deemed the man's property. So if the man decided to divorce the woman, she would be left with nothing. Even if he inherited everything from her, not only can he take everything that was hers, he could take the children. She had no rights to that.
Okay, my opinion, that's not an opinion because it's a theory, because it's supplied by facts. First and foremost, and I love the fact that, like, in my household, we be having...
I own no copyrights to this
So,
material.
yeah, so because
So
like
this
my girl
is
be
for
talking
entertainment
about that, yo, bro,
purposes
you don't make no sense. So let's do
Okay.
it. So we do the research together.
Fair
And
use.
I tell you the backstory. It started off about men providing. So when we actually did some research and we Googled the first considerable women's movement, it was started by married women in the late 1800s, and it was basically about the
Women's Property Act.
Women's Property Act, about the ability to own, whatever property that she was married into, right? Her name should be on whatever land, house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that was the start of it. That was the very first time women decided to say, hey, listen, if we're married to you, we deserve to own some type of, or have some type of ownership for whatever we have been married into. And I know we've all, and I'm not gonna play dumb here, I hope none of us are. We all know men who have bought houses, gotten divorced, left the house with the woman, or she won the house, and the kids. So now we done seen a whole 360 or 180 flip from the men retaining rights of the children in 1993. That was
No.
19. What was it?
In
1800.
Late 1800s.
So in 1800s, men have already lost ownership of the kids, automatically granted to the woman. Damn near, like damn near. But then, so we lost that, or I don't want to say lost that. We gave that up. Now, then you.
But at what point were the men solely responsible for the children? There's never been a time in history
Women were
where the men were responsible for the children. Let's think logically about this. The reason why they typically have gone, I don't know about right now, but the reason why they typically have gone to the mother is simply because they were the ones who were giving the care to the child. And at no point in history has there been a time where the roles were reversed.
So
I don't think they use that honestly when it comes down to picking. That's another thing about the system. It's really statistically shown that with fathers, even if it's a single father and he take care of the kids, those kids come out better than the kids that's raised by a strictly single mother. It's better discipline, all those types.
And, but my thing is this: we could just talk. Let's talk about this. You wanna,
I will know
and you also wanna, you ask the question of when were they the caregivers or the caretakers? Well, realistically, once they got divorced, that man, right? If we're going with the narrative, women weren't working at that point, right? Women were not allowed to work at that time. Okay, we're talking about the late 1800s now. We're far back now. We play a major role based on results. So, but my thing is this is where the war starts, right? The war starts when there wants to be a neglect or a downplay on the role of the man, especially when it comes to a child, right? So,
Greater Rochester homeowners are snagging new roofs from just $9,750.
So
right? So when we say, hey, listen, statistically, data or the history, data, whatever, the history of fathers being present in that child's life with or without the mother, the biological mother, the kid has that kid has a better probability in going further. This is just this.
all right. So let's talk about it. Statistically, I don't really want to go with statistics. Let's go with logic and basic common sense. Any child that was raised with two parents, a mother and a father in the household, were much well-rounded in people in the world. You're going to be more well-rounded, because you having a better perspective when you can get the whole you. When I say the whole you were created by two different entities. They came together and they created you, right? So when you got both of those entities with you at one time, then you getting all of you. You learning from both sides of your DNA. You understand what I'm saying? So when that's the situation, the vast majority of the time, you're gonna come out better. You're gonna come out in a better situation because it's just a well-rounded. I mean, the math is the math. You understand? You have a single person, a single mother, or a single father. If it's a single mother, the mother can only offer the mother side of the role, of the parent, the parent role, right? She can only offer that, which means that it's going to be a whole half missing. Okay, if it's the father that has a child, then the father is going to be missing the mother role, the catering and the mother role, right? So it's still going to be something missing for the child is still going to go without. One way or the other, the child is going to go without, right? So if they got both parents, then okay, you see where I'm going with this? Like, you know, this is not like Chinese arithmetic. This is simple shit. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, what's needed is we need to get back to community. We need to get back to men and women understanding that we both need to be able to be mature adults for the sake of the children. You agree?
This is what?
I don't know what's study.
Here's one study. And what we know is children thrive better in a two-parent household.
Okay, but we're not talking about. We're
Because
talking
of
about the
father,
war
and
here.
I
It's
think
not
even
just
now,
because
I
of the
think even
father.
now, no,
Oh
we
my
can
God.
attest to that now. Like even right now, think of what's going on now. All the kids with the guns, all the young boys, they all under 18. 9 times out of 10, they don't got their dad in their life. All the dudes that come on my show, the young rappers, I never had my dad. I don't know what my dad is. I never really worried about it. Y'all out here drilling. Y'all out here telling other kids to drill. They not guided. And I watch other mothers with their kids. Y'all don't know how to say no. You don't know how to sit that ass down. Like it's a lot of things that y'all don't do that a man would do.
I don't disagree
So
with
I
you.
feel like a lot of times that's the reason why they so off the leash now.
But
So I feel like we
what I'm
seen it
just trying to-
firsthand
That's a
how
symptom, and not like
right.
like that's merely. And I agree with you. And I'm not disagreeing.
not the solution.
With the stat,
Uh-huh.
but that's a symptom of a bigger problem, because the women
Right.
are raising their children alone, not because they chose to.
Some of them. Wait, hold on. Time out.
I'm just saying, like, is that really where we gonna go with that? You know, like, they don't choose to be single. For the most part, you chose to be single. You know what I mean? Like, am I saying that? Look, especially back then, cause I came up. Look, when I was growing up, I seen a lot of shit that wasn't right. You know, from men that was with women, abuse, verbal and physical. You understand what I'm saying? So I understand that part of it, 1,000%. But listen, you destroy the narrative when you're not truthful. Because the fact of the matter is, a lot of times, man, those things go both ways, and a lot of those situations, the man wasn't the problem, it wasn't the issue, it was the other way around. And I've seen a lot of females very aggressive. You understand? Very disrespectful to their men. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, what we need to do is we need to come to the middle of the table. We need to get a common ground where we understand that, look, we both genders, men and women, we both own everything that we have, right? And what we don't got, we don't deserve. So the thing is that we need to come back to the table and understand that, look, man, there's no way we can do this for the sake of the children, for the sake of the future. There's no way we can do this unless we get to a common place. And I just think it's silly and idiotic. And the thing about it is nobody else on the planet, right, would do this except for us. Us. You know, people who look like me. And that's sad. That's the saddest part of it all. It's like, man, we get so caught up in some of the most nonsense, the most juvenile shit that you could possibly think of is what we indulge in. And it's so devastating and detrimental to the children, to the future. You know what I mean? Because if you ask me, we don't care about the children, man. We don't care about the young people. And then you look at the young people, can't you see that we don't care? They dying, they just vastly just dying, right? Can't you see that we don't care? And I mean, at some point, man, you know, that gotta change, right? You know what I mean? At some point, that gotta change. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, I'm sorry. That's my bad. Alright. Y'all gotta excuse me. I'm not tech savvy. I'm just getting used to using a lot of this equipment and stuff like that. So please excuse me, please, while I navigate and figure these things out. Alright? So, yeah, basically, just to kind of like elaborate on the whole purpose of the video. And the purpose of the video is gender wars, you know, then versus now. And what the small recap that I'm going to do is this. It was a time, I remember a time, I'm old enough to remember a time when relationships mattered between men and women. And not only did they matter, they was important. And I can remember times when there was some real genuine love between the two genders. Now, you know, of course, we have our problems. There's always, there's no one out that's going to go without problems. But, like, you know, I look at my children, and I feel sorry for my sons because they'll never get up, they'll never have the opportunity to experience what I had the opportunity to experience, right? And what's the difference? Okay, the difference is when I was coming up young, you know, when I was in school and high school, you know, the standard was be popular, you know, look good, have something going about yourself, and you was in. You was in. You had them. I mean, you had them. Not her. You had them. You had them. You had them. They was flocking. You feel what I'm saying? They was flocking. We didn't have to have $1 million. We didn't have to be making six figures. We didn't have to take you on a date and spend $250 just in order for you to even like consider none of that type of trash. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on. It was none of that, okay? I didn't experience that coming up. You know, that's not my experience. My experience was I'm gonna meet you downtown after school, and we meet downtown and we walk around everywhere. We go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac and some French fries, and we sit there and we talking and chilling, and we actually getting to know each other for real. Like, we sitting there, I'm asking you questions, you asking me questions about my family, about my history, how I came up, that type of shit. You feel me? Over a burger and some motherfucking fries. Real shit. You know what I mean? No Cheesecake Factory, no Ruth and Chris, no Longhorn, none of that old shit. You understand what I'm saying? None of that old shit, man. Like, seriously. Now, once, you know, once I got of age and I'm, you know, my mid to late 20s, you know what I'm saying, shit like that, then of course, yeah, I mean, just for points, yeah, let's hit a movie. When you gonna let me take you out to dinner? See, when you gonna let me take you out to dinner used to be that line, son. That used to really be that line. Why? Because you understood that, okay, when you took her out or whatever, that was gonna really be a thing. Like, it really was gonna be a thing. It was gonna solidify a lot of shit. Man, these kids today, man, I feel sorry for these boys, man. These boys gotta go out and damn near kill themselves just in order to put themselves in the presence of these females. Or just for these females to even look at these dudes as being valid. That's sad. You know, they gotta be making all this money. You know what I mean? And when you look at the statistics, the statistics clearly say that the average man ain't making, you know, he don't even get in his stride till late 30s, early 40s. So when you have this type of pressure and expectation on young kids, it's just explosive and it's chaos, and that's what you see. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to come and touch on that, you know, on this relationship shit, because we got to get this shit together, yo. You know what I mean? Like, we really got to get this shit together. It's just the worst time in history. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's the worst time in history with relations between genders, and specifically blacks, because the Asians ain't really necessarily having this problem. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have a few whites that's on the bandwagon of it, feminism and all that. And, you know, all women kind of participate, most women kind of participate in feminism, but toxic feminism, specifically blacks. You know, with a sprinkled in with some whites and a little bit of Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, like, the Puerto Rican culture is fantastic. Like, the women, and the Spanish women, oh my God. You know, and even to this day, they still hold, because it's culture. They still hold their culture. You know what I mean? Which is, they know how to treat a man, yo. And they feminine for the most part. They're not really masculine. So, y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. I know it's, I know these type of topics ruffle feathers and people feel away. And I'm interested to know, you know, how you feel. So, be sure to get in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video. Alright? I love y'all. All I want is the best for you. So, get it together, man. Straighten it up. You heard? And with that being said, I'm out.